All right, what it do, everybody? It's your boy LOG from Where There's Smoke. This is episode 23, and this week we got a special guest in the building.
In the living room.
We got my dad, Denver Lemons. Say
Yeah.
what's up to everybody.
Hello. Hello.
So it's summertime. It's heating up. Is there anything you want to say? Just kind of small talk as far as summer and how's work going? And
Works hard. We work in the outdoors all day long. The humidity's killing me, and but we're surviving. We're gonna make it. Too many birthdays to be working out in the humidity, but it'll be all right.
yeah, Joey was. We were watching a little clip from his episode. He was saying that he wanted to hear you talk a little bit about. Do you feel like there's a lack of like young men working in like hard physical jobs? And is that something you want to see more from the youth, or like?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find good help in the youth. I mean, that want to get out and really work and
Yeah.
sweat, and that's why these guys coming from other areas are coming in, and they're taking up the slack. But in my opinion, is if we don't get our youth to grow up and take care of themselves. And here's an example. I've got a friend that's got a tire shop, and they do road calls on I-10 out of Luling, Texas. And here the other day they called up and said it was a college student had a blowout or flat on I-10, and the dad called, so they sent the owner went down there, and when the parent called back to pay for the repair, the owner said, "Oh, there's no charge." He said, "Oh no, you didn't fix my son's tire." He said, "No, he fixed it. He changed the flat." He said he doesn't know how, and the owner of the tire store, he said he does now. He made the young man do it so he could learn how to change a tire. You know, it was a young college kid, but a man needs to learn how to change a flat tire. So
Yeah, that's a good thing.
yeah, so
Yeah.
the adults, the parents need to step up.
You think that's where it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back on the parents and maybe even the grandparents. You know, somebody needs to step up and teach these kids, and ag teachers, coaches, auto mechanics class.
Because some of it is those jobs are not as rewarding with the pay, but some of it is you see the kids, even when they get in these like CEO jobs or jobs that like do pay high, they still don't have the good hardworking ethics and morals. So is it a thing of like, which that's still shitty that the jobs we need to run the country don't pay more, but then you see these kids, if they choose something that doesn't pay more, sometimes the morals and ethics are still not there.
I think though, if you want to work hard and move up, and really, I know what you're saying about the pay scale on some of those jobs, but
Right.
but if you got the good work ethic and you can move up and be a leader, and at whatever capacity, you're going to move up
Yeah.
or get the experience to get the next job up somewhere else.
Yeah.
The level of work.
Yeah, I think that's something that's undervalued now is getting the experience and like actually just doing stuff. People want to like everything shortcut handed to me, like, oh, I got this degree or this title, so now I deserve this. It's like, what about the time you've put in and the lessons you've learned that are really the more valuable than like title X?
Well,
Right.
and you know from growing up with me, but the parents can have these kids doing chores at home even when they're young.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, feed the dogs or the cats, take the trash out,
Yeah.
help me wash the car, mow the grass, whatever. You got to start them young to teach them a good work ethic.
Yeah, I feel like that's true.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. You got to start them young.
Well,
And that's not child abuse.
no,
That's actually the opposite.
yeah, really. So, trying to figure out what question I want to start with. But I guess we could start with, how long have you been in the Central Texas area?
We've been here since 1999, so 25 years.
Yeah. And do you like this area more or less than, because I guess let's kind of like what, so I guess this is kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but would you say you like this more or less than like other places you've lived throughout your life, or is there somewhere else you'd rather live, or?
I like it here. there's a lot of entertainment. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's getting to be a lot more people here,
Yeah.
and I love people, but it gets to be it's too kind of getting
Too
to be
many.
too many people.
Yeah.
It's hard to get
I've
it off
noticed
into
that.
your grocery store, and it's a lot of people.
Yeah. So, um, is there somewhere else that I know we've talked a little bit, but is there somewhere else that you would, if you got a job maybe, or if you had enough money or it lined up right, that you would rather live?
I like kind of like the San Angelo area. It's reminds me of more laid back atmosphere, more country atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, if I leave here, then I wouldn't get to see you and my other kids, and
Yeah.
so
Because to me, this is
everybody'd
home.
have to migrate with me,
Yeah.
to make it work for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Because to me, this is home, Central
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
but
It's a good place. I mean, it's a great place. It's just a
it's
lot of
not
people.
perfect though, and
Just
it's
a
too
lot
many
of people moving in.
I agree with
You
that.
know, you
Even
can't even go to the river anymore.
yeah, you're starting to see in like the local surrounding little towns that never really had traffic having traffic
They're
and
having
being
traffic.
busy.
Yep.
And you're like, it's like this in Luling. It's like this in I don't know if Gonzales is like that now, but like San Marcos is busier.
I talked to some guys down there. It's starting to get busier down there.
You're like Lockhart has traffic now. Like Luling has traffic on the back
Hey,
roads. You're
oh
like,
yeah,
what the heck?
oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's good and bad, but I just wish, like, we got all these people. I've beaten this dead horse over and over, but like, we got all these people that moved in with COVID, and it's just like, I hope they don't try to like. It's like there's a reason you left. And people have been saying this for years, but like, there's a reason you left where you left. So like, don't like. Why did it get shitty where you were? Don't just come here and let it get shitty too. Like, it's almost like this thing of like, did you not fight to make it to keep it good where you were? You just let it get shitty, and then you're just gonna bail out and come here, and then you're
Gonna make it the
gonna
same
make
way
it
where
that-
it was.
you're gonna be a part of that happening here. And we're gonna talk about this, I think, later too. But like, it's almost like these people that are so eager to cross the border. It's like, and this is maybe a more in-depth topic, but it's like it's so shitty where you are. You don't want to fucking fix that, but you want to come here and maybe make it shittier here. It's like,
It's happening. It's happening.
why don't we fight to make it better where it is? Because eventually it's just gonna be shitty everywhere. Like, but anyway, we can get into that a little later. So I kind of want to get into kind of how you were brought up and where you were raised. So maybe not exactly where you were born, but where did you grow up in the beginning?
So I grew up in New Mexico, southeastern New Mexico, Portales, and then in the mountains of Ruidoso. And we grew up in agriculture. We snow skied, obviously in the mountains. Went to the horse races. My aunt and uncle had a tack shop there. They worked on boots and saddles, and we started there in 5th grade, sweeping the floors and
Bargee Western wear.
Bargee Western wear, taking the trash out, and just learning how to do the basics, and we learned how to work on boots and help my uncle patch, and then they eventually moved out of that to open the Western wear store, and they're still in business today. And it was always something. We're hauling hay,
If you want to meet a real life cowboy that'll chew your ass out, go in there and ask for Buzz Goodson.
Buzz Goodson. Ask for a Toby Keith hat.
Yeah.
Or a Beyonce hat.
Yeah.
There you go. But we just grew up doing what we had to do. Had multiple jobs at the Western Wear store. My uncle turned out lightweight calves on wheat pasture. We had to ride and doctor them. We roped and hauled hay in the summers, and then from there on just went on to college, ag degree, and been working on ranches and building fence ever since.
Where did you go to college?
You went to junior college at Clarington in the Panhandle, got associate's degree, and then finished at Tarleton State.
What was your associate's degree in?
Just
Basic.
It's a, what do you call that? You get a
Just general studies,
yeah,
or
well, you get a, I think it's associates of science.
okay.
What I got, I think is what it's called. And then went on and finished and got a animal production degree at Tarleton State.
Okay. Would you say that degree really made, like, what am I trying to say? Do you feel like, how big of a difference do you feel like it made in your knowledge of like ag and animals and animal science and stuff?
So when I grew up in it was pushed on us to go to college.
Yeah.
Nobody went to college. It was opportunity, so I went to college, and still to this day, I think with a college degree, you've went and you've learned the basics. It's not the hands-on, but you've learned the basics of what you need to go to get you into a position to hopefully get into management. And that was the whole idea, to be a manager, to be into management.
Okay.
Where you get to make decisions
Right.
and be in that status. And there's a lot of guys now in the agriculture world that haven't went to college that have been very successful.
Right.
But again, they go from hands on, and they do go to some trainings and some schools, some short courses, and basically they get thrown into a position where they have
To learn.
to learn it. They
Yeah.
have to.
Do you feel?
Necessity.
Oh my bad. Do you feel like Did you apply for scholarships or any kind of? Now a big thing also is like federal grants, where like it's almost now. I don't know how it is now, but when I went to school, which is like a little over 10 years ago, you were automatically. It depended on your income and your parents' income, but you could get what was called like a Pell Grant, and everybody was going to get some, but some people got more than others depending on. Did they have that? How was the financial stuff back when you?
They had Pell Grants, and so I got some of those, and then I had to set out of college one year and earn some money, and I think I earned that time about $12,000, and then the government said I made too much money
For the Pell Grant?
to get a Pell Grant, but I qualified for a low interest loan. Back then, the interest rate was 8%, 8.25%, which the interest rate for regular loans was probably 18 or 19.
Oh,
So I took those loans out and I paid every penny back.
was there scholarships or you didn't really think about that?
They had them, but no one directed me in that direction to apply for them. And to be
Yeah.
honest, my grades weren't good enough to probably get them. And
And there's probably a lot more now.
oh yeah,
And they're
there's
easier
a,
to find with online.
there's a lot of scholarships now for
Yeah.
a kid that wants to go to school.
So you worked during college.
I worked.
Where?
When I went to Clarington, I worked in a saddle shop. So I had
Okay.
that experience,
Okay.
and also got my first experience in waiting tables. Clarington, Texas. It's a ranching community in the Panhandle, population about 2,000 then. And I worked for a lady in a saddle shop. She was a saddle maker, and I worked for her. That summer when I was gone, she had a falling out with it was called Texas Saddler. She had a falling out with the owners. So she opened a Mexican restaurant there in Clarington, and had me and a friend of mine that we high school rodeoed together, wanted us to be waiters. Oh, we were scared. And she said, "I think it'll draw business in because most people here have never seen a male waiter. All the cafes got female waiters, so
Yeah.
she
Was that
paid
more
us.
of a lot common thing back then, especially in small towns?
If it was women that
You
waited
never saw
tables.
men waiters?
No.
At all?
No.
Back in that day?
Uh-uh.
That's funny. Isn't
Might
it?
had some. You had male bartenders probably,
Okay,
but
but
you didn't. I mean, maybe at
It was rare.
like at a Red Lobster, something you might have
in a
some
big town.
In a big town, you
Yeah.
might have some male waiters, but not in a ranching community.
Right.
And but she paid us. I think minimum wage was $2.95. She paid us $3 an hour, all the tips, and her sister cooked, and it was all home cooked ranch food, Mexican food, and she fed us. When we worked, she fed us, so it was a win-win situation.
Okay.
We were a little worried going into it, but it was all right.
And then when you were at Tarleton, did you also work?
I worked there. I had experience. One of my uncles in New Mexico, him and his family had a big dairy. They milked 800 to 1,000 cows twice a day. So I had that experience, and that's what paid the best over ranch work was dairy work. So I
In Tarleton?
milked cows. Yeah, I milked cows.
And who owned the dairy?
It was the Terry family.
Okay.
David and Juanita Terry.
Okay. And when did you work at the dairy? When you were in high school?
And when I was in high school, when I was 15,
Okay.
yeah, I worked there one summer.
Okay. And you got a lot of experience with that.
Yeah.
And then how long did you work at the dairy in Tarleton? Probably 2 years
On
and off?
I worked on two dairies. I worked for the Turley Dairy. Then they went through a buyout program, and then I was the weekend herdsman for it was an all Jersey dairy down in Comanche. I can't remember Charlie. I can't remember his name right now, but so I was a weekend herdsman there.
funny thing about that is when I was in high school, I was in FFA and I was doing like livestock judging, and I really didn't like it and didn't want to do it. And then the ag teacher, Jeff Witt, he approached me and said, "You want to try dairy judging?" And I was like, "Man, I already don't want to do livestock judging." I was like, I was like, "I don't think I want to do this." Like, why this was like because all of the kids in FFA dairy excuse me, livestock judging was like the thing to do. Everybody wanted to do livestock judging, so I tried that and I didn't really like it. And there was only like a select few kids that did dairy judging, so much so that the ag teacher recruited me to be their fourth person that they needed. And I was like, everybody wants to do livestock judging, which I don't want to do. I was like, nobody wants to do this. I don't want to do this either. But I said yes out of like guilt, because I could tell that he came to me with like some, "We need you," and he kind of gave me a little speech and talked me up like, "I think you could do this," and blah blah blah. And so I was like, pep talk me. I was like, okay. And at first I didn't want to do it, but I told him I would, so it was an obligation thing. After the first one, I did way better at that than livestock judging, and it encouraged me to like, I kind of like this. Like, I'm good at it.
It's a whole different.
It was a whole
different deal though with dairy judging. Yeah.
And so I got into that, and anyway, I ended up doing kind of decent at that. And I had always remembered my dad telling me about that back in the day, but I'd really never thought about it. So it was kind of funny that that became kind of my thing in ag that I was kind of good at.
Well, and
I ended up lettering in that in high school, so that was kind of like my.
Well, then, my cousins in New Mexico, Buzz's boys, Grady and Garrett, they showed dairy heifers. And Garrett's daughters showed dairy heifers, and they all did good with dairy heifers.
Okay.
They have dairy shows up there at the stock shows.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So we kind of jumped ahead to college, but so you grew up in eastern New Mexico and then Ruidoso. Which of those two did you kind of like better?
The mountains.
The Ruidoso, the mountains where it's cooler.
The only thing there, we didn't have our horses, so we would,
but
down
you
at
could
Buzz's,
fish and swim.
Fish.
And
oh yeah,
ski.
We trout fished and in the creek, in the stream there, and snow ski. Learned how to snow ski there, and played sports, played football a little bit on the wrestling team.
Okay. A wrestling team for
one year.
One year.
You had to lose too much weight. You had to get lean. I mean,
I
couldn't
like
get
football, right? How long did you play football?
Into high school. I didn't finish high school.
Okay, but junior high and years,
in the high school, yeah.
Okay, and then let's see. So eastern New Mexico, for those of who, what am I trying to say? Eastern New Mexico, for those of you who know, is a kind of a pretty religious area. Did you see much of that growing up? Did that shape you, or did you really not even think about it? Or
no, we went to church.
You did?
Yes. My mom wasn't a big churchgoer. My grandparents, aunt and uncles were a big churchgoer. So when we were there, and we stayed a lot of summers.
How did you see that as a kid? Like, how did you think of that?
It was routine. On
you just
Sunday,
didn't give it a second thought?
Sundays you were going to church, and my grandmother, they had church on Sunday nights. We went to church Sunday mornings
like now
and Sunday
religion
nights
is such a big topic of discussion. My whole life I've been questioning it. What's right, what's wrong, and thinking about it. And viewing all these options, but it's
when we grew up, everybody, I mean, not everybody, obviously,
but for the most part, everyone.
But you think about it, that everybody that we were connected with and knew, and pretty much everybody went to church.
That's interesting.
That was kind of just that was a Sunday. I mean,
yeah.
And really on Sundays, few convenience stores opened, a few
but
restaurants,
a lot more stuff was closed.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't. I don't remember the grocery stores being open. I don't think you'd get a flat fixed.
Just kind
feed stores were closed. It was that was Sunday.
Slow day.
A couple of the restaurants were open, so people would go eat. Dinner with their family. Yeah, with their family after church. Yeah, but there wasn't much open.
That's interesting. Huh. So, what else was I thinking? So, like, in your whole life, ag and animals and that whole thing has been a big part of that. What really got you into that? Like, who?
Oh, my granddad.
Yeah. And he's I mean, I know not all about him, but I've heard so many stories throughout the years from my grandma, your mom, and from you. But just tell the people kind of what. I know it's hard to sum up like so shortly and on the
well,
spot.
He left. He was part Indian in Oklahoma, and they sent him to. His dad thought it was a good thing, a boarding school and they
And his dad was not the part of.
his dad was
white.
Irish.
Okay,
He was a
Irish.
Goodson, so but he thought a boarding school, private school was good, and it turned out to be horrible. And my granddad left, I think when he was about 14, and went home, ran away from the school, went home, and then his dad sent him back. So he knew if he ran away again, he couldn't go home. He'd
And
be
this is
sent
back in
back.
the era when they were basically trying to whitewash
This would
the
have
Native
been the
Americans,
this would have
right?
been the this would have been about 19 or 1920s.
Okay.
So he left and he went to Texas, and then he winded up in New Mexico. And and he fought in one of the wars, and
Which war did he fight in?
World War II.
Wow. Okay.
So when we were growing up, he always had horses, and we learned how to break horses, and he always traded and always dabbled in some pigs and some calves, and that's how he kind of made a living. But he's the one that, because of him, got me into agriculture.
Yeah. And
then working on the dairy, and
Right.
with other Uncle Buzz had cattle turned out on wheat pasture.
Right. But he also kind of he from what I hear, he was, what am I trying to say? More or less very humble and likable, and had a good respect for nature and animals on the land, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is something that's important. I feel like a lot more people could have, and I feel like I connect with that, and I try to more as much as I can, but that's something that I feel like is lost on a lot of people today,
Need to be in touch with the outdoors and the animals, and
Yeah.
at any aspect,
Yeah.
hunting, fishing, gathering fruit, having a garden. It's
Yeah.
healthy. And they always had all that.
So he got you jump started really, and then Buzz kind of also.
And so what I was looking at when they were telling me go to college, I'm looking at, okay, I see my granddad, he broke horses and they did this and that, but my granddad did not use a deworming practice on his animals. And that was something new that the veterinarians were talking about, and my uncle was talking about. We need to keep the parasites out of our animals. But my granddad was so old-fashioned and old school, they didn't know about that. They probably had ways of feeding something, herbs or something back then that they knew helped. And so
or
that
maybe some new method of feeding that we think is better actually contributed to where we need to use that
overgrazing.
shit.
Yeah.
Or some,
So that enticed me too. I go to college. I'm going to learn about all this new stuff coming up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you always had an interest in it from these people that are important in your life, but when did, like, I guess kind of take me and people through the journey of, like, when did you start roping? When did you, or were you always just kind of like, and when did you, what's the first thing that you remember, like, big event of, like, it sounds like cheesy, but like cowboy event? Like, do you remember your first branding, or do you remember the first time you rode a horse, or were you just always so around all this shit?
We were always, I remember Granddad.
It's like second nature to do
He'd
all
have
that
him
shit.
a couple of little calves, and I don't know how he did it. I think back on it now, I don't know how he did it, because they were little calves. He would hold them up the side of a barn. We'd kind of help hold the head. He'd hold them up next to the barn, and he'd get under there with his pocket knife and castrate them.
I was just gonna ask, when's the first time you remember doing that?
And it's just like we grew up with it. It was just like an everyday occurrence. And then I remember, though, he would take salt and rub salt in the nut sack, and that helped the nut sack dry up and kept the flies out of it.
From getting infected.
So that would have been a natural antiseptic
Yeah.
fly deterrent,
Yeah.
And we saw him castrate horses. We helped him do that. He knew how to put the ropes around them and around the hind foot and jerk them down. And we'd sit on their head, and he'd tie them down and castrate horses.
Yeah.
And they were 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get your head kicked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we just grew up around it.
That's
you know?
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So, okay. So you all this. I mean, you grow up around it. You're seeing it your whole life, and then you get older. You go to college. What do you remember? Anything that you learned in college that, I mean, obviously you learned a lot and it kind of went with all the stuff, but is there anything in college that you remember that stood out when you heard it? You're like, wow, that's something that
Yep. Still preach it today, and a lot of people that have been to college and have a lot of experience don't know this, is that a cow in any breed, as long as she's got a calf nursing her, they may not come into heat and cycle. So in a cow, just like a woman,
Well, that makes
it's
sense.
a 9 month gestation period. Then they have a calf, and they should take a bull and breed back. They have to have time for everything to heal up. They should breed back in 45 to 90 days after having a baby calf. But a cow, and it doesn't matter what breed, while nursing a calf, some cows will not come into heat and cycle. So what our practice was is that it was a mathematical equation per se. Before we turned the bulls out, we got so many days from calving, so many days where they got, we call it, healed up in their uterus and everything. We would remove the calves for 48 hours.
Oh.
And everybody, oh, that stresses the calf. No, it doesn't stress the calf. You put the cow where they see the cow can see the calves. Yeah, they moo and cry for 48 hours, but that sets the biological clock in that cow that I need to come in heat and cycle so I can take the bull.
Yeah.
And that was taught to me in an animal science class at Tarleton, and it's that, I mean, that's one thing that,
Yeah.
and a lot of people that own cows don't know that.
Yeah.
And it's a real simple procedure, but a lot of people don't know
They
that.
just leave the calf with them when they're trying to breed them again.
No, but as long as that cow's
Nursing?
nursing, as long as that calf's taking milk, some
That makes
cows
sense.
will not come into
Well,
heat.
most, right?
They won't come in. No, it's just a few.
Oh,
But if you're looking at I need
Well,
a
you might as
90,
well do it.
I need a 95% calf crop.
you might as well do it.
Yeah, and just calf removal.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, that makes
So
sense.
that's that, and I learned how to halter a show calf.
Shit.
Didn't know. No, I didn't know how to do it.
Oh,
You know
okay.
those ropes? It's
Oh,
all through
yeah.
all them loops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had to halter a show calf. I didn't know how to do it.
Huh?
I looked at it and figured it out, but I never had haltered a show calf.
Okay. So, what was your first job when you got out of college?
Went to work, professional job, went to work for Granada Biosciences.
Okay.
They were over in Wheelock, Texas, and they were they weren't the first ones, but they were in the forefront forerunners of doing where you get a cow bred with artificial insemination.
Uh-huh.
You give them the right drugs.
Uh-huh.
You can flush those fertilized eggs out. They were the start of that.
Okay.
That was
And then
in
what
the-
would they do with those fertilized eggs?
Then they put those into recipient cows. So they get cows.
Why?
So you can have one good cow and one good bull, and you can have 10 offspring because you flush
So
those.
they're using the good genes from the good cow.
And then they don't have to have a good cow. I mean, they need
They can just have any cow.
just a commercial cow, and they put the eggs in there, and so she's the surrogate mother. They call them a recipient cow.
Wow.
So they were on the forefront of that embryo transfer. That was in the
But
late,
you were
late 80s.
But working for Granada, you weren't in the lab working with this shit.
No. We were on the
You
ranch.
were on horse. You were the cowboy
We were
at
the
the operation.
cowboys. We were the cowboys.
So you know if this is a fucking movie that you're watching and they zoom in, they show
They
the
had
nerds
a-
in the lab, and then they show the boss of the Cowboys. Boss, it's like he's the.
we
You
were
out
in the
there
we were in
collecting
the we were in the
cows
we were in
and
the
getting them
we
rounded
were in the
up
field.
and
We
the field hands.
We
But
did all the we did
more
all
than
the
field hands. Y'all had to
we raised the cattle.
professional cowboys
Yeah,
basically.
because they had registered Brangus cattle, and we did
Y'all
all
would do
the,
what they call working cattle, where you bring them in
every day. Yeah, all the vaccines, the weaning, the deworming, parasite control.
So-
Yeah, but they were at the forefront of that
Okay.
that situation.
Hmm.
So I always tell everybody, I said you could work there a year and get about 5 years experience because
Right.
you
Y'all were doing it all
yeah
on horseback.
we had 2,000 head of cattle and we saw it all.
Yeah.
They had an on-staff veterinarian
Yeah.
and we did all the vet work. I mean,
Okay.
he's the one that could get us the medicine.
Yeah.
And
They
the
had
state
a
work,
vet hired that was like
he was
on
just the
staff there.
on-staff
Yeah.
vet, so he could order
Yeah.
all the medicine. And we did the state. So for the females, there's a shot called a brucellosis shot.
Mhm.
It gets a state tag and a state tattoo. We were authorized to give all that
Okay.
on the females.
How many guys did y'all have working that were like horseback, like ranch hands?
So on my division, we had 4.
And then how many divisions were there?
So I had Diamond G's where they did the high tech work. They had a lab there.
Yeah.
Veterinarians and embryologists. and let's see, they had El Camino, Pecan Valley. They had what was that other ranch? Bee Creek, Cedar Creek. Those were cow-calf ranches. Then they had a place where they collected semen from bulls called sire services, and then they
What was
had
it
a
called?
sire
Sire? Oh,
services.
sire
The
services.
sire they
Yeah,
collected and
yeah.
froze semen on bulls there, their bulls and outside bulls, and then they had a horse farm, so they stood stallions. Some they owned, some they didn't, and they bred about 400 mares
Hmm.
for other people every year in the
Okay.
breeding season, which is in the spring.
Hmm.
And then we lived there on the ranch
Okay.
in a mobile home.
Okay.
When that's where you were born.
Yeah. So about how many like people did y'all have like that were actually like ranch hands that would like
So
that
every
would
ranch
actually
had 4 to 6 guys.
so they probably had like 20 or 25.
Oh yeah, they had a full, and then they had a hay crew, a fence
Okay.
crew,
I mean, so they
and
probably had
they had
100 employees,
yeah,
but they had at least 20 to 35 guys that
they
were
had
horseback every day.
yeah, 20 or 30 guys horseback every day
And then yeah, so big
to
operation.
clear the dust, roping and
Yeah,
riding.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so how long were you there?
about close to 3 years because they went through a bankruptcy,
Oh, okay.
strategic bankruptcy, and sold out and went out of business.
And then you went to work at Bovista Farms.
Worked a little bit for Clark Angus and a little bit for Miss Drew. She had a Simbra ranch in Hearn,
Okay.
and then down to Navasota to Bovista Farms.
Okay.
We were down there about 6 years.
Yeah, that's what I remember, and that was what Bovista Farms for Mr. Bove.
Mr. Bove, yeah.
Yeah, and you liked him.
Oh yeah, great guy, great guy.
Yeah,
His dad was
he was a oil tycoon, right?
engineer
Oh, okay.
and retired, but his dad was one of the engineers on the Panama Canal. His
Okay.
dad had been an engineer.
Wow. I feel like I would have liked him if I could have
Oh, super
remembered
nice
him.
guy, super nice guy. He said when he was an engineer, they called his team the problem solvers. When they couldn't figure it out, they called him.
Okay.
And he was a big advocate of the Boy Scouts, and he lived in Florida, and so he had a lot of friends that were astronauts. Yeah, believe it or not.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Now, whether they went to the moon or not, I don't know
Yeah.
that end of it, but
I remember kind of growing up there before we moved to Central Texas and Lockhart and everything. So I do remember growing up there a little bit. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty big ranch, and that's where I rode my first horse and some other things. So that was pretty cool. I remember like a few things from there. I remember like the barbecue place there and like certain other
remember
things.
you helped us pin cows over there for Jody Tomlinson.
I
You're
don't
on that
remember
Shetland pony out in them tall weeds.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I told you, I said
what
I-
was that guy's name?
Jody Tomlinson.
No, who was the guy that was heading it up though? That Pop knows. Jerry.
No, he bought bulls from Jerry Hudson.
Jerry Hudson.
They were buddies from
He
college.
was tied in with him. I
Yeah,
know
they
him
were
from-
buddies. Yeah, but we were pinning cows, and I told Logan was about 5 or 6, 7. He was on a little Shetland pony, and the weeds were 8 foot tall down in that river bottom, Brazos River bottom. And I told him, I said, I've got to go. These cows are getting away from us. I got to ride up and go get around them. So I told him, I said, you'll hear the cows mooing. You just keep riding towards the pens to them cows. So I got up there, and Jody said, where's that little boy? And I said, you see them weeds moving down there? I said, he's down there coming this way. I thought Jody was going to whip my ass. So I left you down there. And he went down there in his Suburban through those weeds, and he come down there and got you. Got you and put you in the Suburban, and y'all led your horse back up there.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep. Yep. Good times.
Yeah. So then, not long after that, we were there for a while, but then we moved to Central Texas, and we've been here for a while. So, you've had a number of jobs since we've been here. Is there anyone that stood out that you really liked the most, or that you?
Ooh, let's see.
You've met a lot of people.
I
since
worked
you've
for
been
2
here, too.
feed companies. Worked for Full of Pep, outside sales, traveling east, central, east Texas, not South Texas, but down on the coastal bend, and then ran a retail store for Live and Good Feeds, and worked for a friend of mine, Swift Fence. Built a lot of fence in this part of Texas. Good fence builder, and then recently transitioned over to an Angus ranch.
Okay. So
It's all just been work.
If you need fence work, call Steven
Steven Swift.
And then
Memphis,
another
Texas.
guy that you worked with here and there, and that I think is a good friend and a good guy is Ray Edwards.
Ray Edwards.
It's funny how you knew who I was going.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ray works for Bubba Benite at the livestock auction market, hauls all their cattle, and does custom shredding on the side and welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for him too. Yeah, that was another little stint. He ran a polo farm and ran a bunch of cows for the Hobbies that own named after the airport in Houston, Hobby Airport.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
been around, done a lot around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the other day, let's see if I want to move on yet. I guess so. The other day we were on the phone. I don't know if you remember this, but you were telling me about one of the cattle you have. It was like showing signs of being sick because their hair was like fucked up or something. Do you remember that?
No,
Or
my
not really?
calves.
Yeah.
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 No, the heat's hurting them, and they're retaining their hair, and that's a sign of overload of parasites. So even though we bring these calves in, and these are my personal cattle, not where I work, we bring them in, we deworm them, but we bring in light calves, 200, 300-pound calves, and I've learned over the years from experience that sometimes in 30 days or 45 days you need to deworm them again with a different type dewormer. And sometimes it just takes them a while coming out of winter to shed all that hair off.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's a sign of still having a parasite load on their system.
Okay.
Not an overload, but there's, you know what I'm saying? They're not as thrifty and they don't look as good as they could.
So you've worked with horses, cattle, a little bit with goats.
Mm-hmm.
Not really pigs.
No,
What else?
that's about it.
That's about it. Which one do you like the best? I guess sometimes horses and cattle go
Horses
together.
and cattle go together, yeah.
But goats.
Well, we had some goats in Navasota, and it's a learning experience.
Yeah. What do you
know?
Yeah.
And
When you compare goats to cattle, what are the main differences and similarities? Would you say?
the biggest main difference on that is that the goats are more susceptible to worms.
That makes sense.
Here in this area where it rains more, I don't
They're low
know
to
why.
the ground.
We don't know why. We
Yeah.
don't. I mean, but they're more susceptible to worms.
Okay.
Yep. So my granddad, what he did, he bought hogs at the sale barn, and he didn't know. He knew, but he didn't know. They would be thin, and he would take, and you can't do this anymore, but he would go to the gas stations and get used motor oil, and he would pour used motor oil on them.
Okay.
And what that did, I didn't know what it was doing. I do now, and I don't know if he knew what it was doing. They had lice.
Oh.
And
He knew.
hair lice, and cattle get it in the spring. It will make them lose weight and look like crap.
He knew.
And so he knew, somebody had told him them hogs need put
Get the
burnt
bugs
motor
off
oil
of
on them
them.
and get the bugs off of them. He'd do that and keep them a month.
Motor
And
oil.
plus, back
Them old stinky
back,
pigs.
plus back then, when what you can't do now, my grandmother always worked at a cafe in town, and they would put all the food scraps in 5-gallon buckets. They didn't throw it in the trash.
So then he would take it to the pigs.
And he would get those and they called it slopping the pigs. You can't do that
piggy,
now.
piggy.
You can't do that now. So he'd
Why
keep-
not?
Because you cannot feed pigs
Human food?
human food.
Oh, no.
I mean, you can your
No, I
own
know,
pigs,
I know.
but
You're not
but
supposed
you
to.
couldn't do it and then say we're gonna Cargill's
You can't
killing.
say you're going to do that. Yeah.
I mean, you could do it for your own pigs,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
but legally to go into the market,
Yeah.
USDA
Yeah,
market
yeah.
to process. But so he would get those pigs thin and they'd get fat and big, and he'd haul them back to sale barn. That's how he'd keep
He'd
6
make
or
money.
8 or 10 around all the time.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
If
So-
I had a little bit of property, I'd definitely have a couple of goats and do something similar. Have them for whatever time period was appropriate, and then sell them and buy new ones just to keep my grass down.
Keep your grass and your brush down, and
Right.
and a lot of people now they're starting to even these. I've talked to some guys today. We sold a calf. They're butchering goats. They're keeping some goats.
Yeah.
They're keeping some pigs. Now they want to get a calf. They're
Okay.
wanting to have their
Yeah,
own
little
meat,
homestead.
own
Yeah.
home raised meat in their freezer.
Yeah.
because the flavor's better,
Yeah.
and you know what it's been fed, and you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of people doing that now.
Yeah. So you've been around horses pretty much your whole life. How hard is it to get a good horse?
You've got to know horses. You've got to know them, or you're gonna have to have the money and have somebody that knows a horse
And when you go to
and
buy a
knows
horse,
you
what
get
are you
'em.
looking for? Because people don't know shit.
Everybody's looking for something different, but
What are you looking for?
I want something gentle. Okay, then that's the hard part you got to identify.
And that's something that's just in their nature, right? Pretty
Well,
much.
depending on how they're handled when they're young,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and I mean, so look,
Gentle's good even if you're a hotshot cowboy. Right?
well,
Because I want a gentle horse for my kids, but even if it's a young, prime, in shape horse and you're a hot shot, you still want the motherfucker
well,
gentle.
but some
'Cause
guys
you don't want it to spook when you
and
go to
then
get on the motherfucker,
and then some
right?
guys though they want to buy the young horse and break it themselves so it knows them, and that's then you got to, you know, can riding a horse and being a cowboy to break a horse and break
two
it
different
right,
things.
two different things. And
Yeah.
used to they got on them and they rode them till they quit bucking. And now all these guys have learned the gentling method, and that's how my granddad was.
Really?
We didn't get on them and ride them till they bucked out.
That'll tear you and them
He
up, right?
he tied their hind foot up, so they wouldn't fall down, but they couldn't buck.
And then get on them?
And then you get them gentle like that. You get them turning around, and
Yeah.
then slowly you release that hind leg until they can put a little more weight on it.
Yeah.
And eventually they're not even thinking about this hind leg.
It's like
They're-
when I first moved to this house, I had a stray cat that was here, and he didn't want to be around me, so I didn't cage him up and force him to be around me. I fed him a little bit and just kind of day by day got closer and closer and closer. Yeah. So anyway, he would tie him up and then
he would tie that hind leg up, and that way, because I mean we were kids, we didn't know how to ride no broncs.
Yeah.
And he was too old, and he called it stove up from got shrapnel in his knees, so his knees were bad, so he couldn't ride those young horses.
Yeah.
We'd get them started, and I say started meaning we'd get them where they turn around a little bit, neck rein them, and ride them around a pen. Then he'd send them to another guy that was a friend of mine named Bub Carter, and he could ride them, and he'd ride them. He'd ride them many a mile.
So you show up to buy a horse. What's the first thing you do? What imagine in your head you're going to buy a horse.
First thing I want to do is I want to see the people go catch the horse with a head stall, and then they're going to tell me how gentle this horse is, and I want them to show me how
Show me,
gentle
motherfucker.
their horse is. So
Yeah.
so go around them and pick all their feet up, so that see that they're not going to paw you and kick you. And if they can't get around the horse and do that, then I just get in my truck and go home. I'm done. I mean, and then they tell me how good it rides. You ride it and show me how good it rides.
Right.
I don't want to get bucked off.
Right.
And then I'll ride it. But a lot of times I can look at a horse and talk to him and ask a few questions and get in my pickup and go home.
It's like for people that play basketball or some sport, when the guy shows up with all the flashy gear and you could see right through it. It's kind of like this. But most people don't look at horses.
Just common sense.
No, I know, but most
know,
people that watching this are not gonna. So
Right.
they're interested to hear that
It's kind of the
you
same
make them
thing
do
if you
it.
go buy a car, and you don't drive it. You just go buy it and then try to drive it home.
Right.
It breaks down.
But the thing is, of course, everyone's gonna ride the horse. But the thing that's interesting is you said you want to see them catch it. You want to see them walk around and pick all its feet up. It's like checking the tires, but it's basic shit. But some people would show up to look at a horse and be like, "Here it is. You want to ride it? Oh yeah." It's like you like to see them catch it.
And there's some people out there in the car business and everywhere else that do this. Some people are horse traders and they'll drug the horses.
See,
I've known that's happened.
Yeah.
And the people get home, and then the next day they go to ride the horse, and the horse goes crazy with them, bucks them off, runs off with them, and gets them hurt. So and here you go. We got an animal we're gonna ride. So it's a hard process. You've got to have somebody that has a lot of experience with horses
right, just like anything.
to help you get a
Is
good
there
one.
anything physically you look at on the horse?
Well, you want to look at their feet, you want to look at their legs, and then you want to
What are you looking for on the feet?
Well, that they got good feet, they're not split.
You want to make sure they've been
Make
trimmed?
sure they don't have swollen joints. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of see if they've been injured or something.
Right.
Scars.
Uh-huh.
They've got a cut in a deep cut, deep scar in a muscle area.
Right.
It might could flare up and
Yeah.
cause them pain later. And
You
then
check the mouth?
You want to check their mouth and
My boss always
hopefully
says,
you can. Most people can't age a horse, but you can still look if you can go online and Google something or get.
well, you can get a general idea just by looking at it,
Yeah,
right? What
yeah.
do you, if you age a horse, what are the things you're looking at to say, I at least know it's at least within a 5-year period of whatever?
The length of their teeth. The older they get, their teeth and their mouth gets. They call it like
When they get so old, they just start
get
getting
parrot
skinny,
mouth.
don't they?
Well, so their mouth's like this
Uh-huh.
when you start, and then as they get older, their mouth goes out like
Turn
this.
your head sideways to the camera. Okay.
So when they're young, their teeth are like this,
Uh-huh.
and as they get older, their teeth,
they-
their mouth changes and they get like this.
And it's
They
harder
call
for them
that
to hold
They
feed,
call
right?
that a parrot mouth.
Parrot mouth.
A parrot
Okay.
mouth because it's more like a,
Parrot.
it's not like this.
Yeah, it's not
And
like
the
this.
and the teeth get longer.
Yeah.
And then they get in the teeth. They get a cup. They call them cups.
Okay.
So the cups, they get cups in each individual teeth rings. It gets cupped.
Okay.
That's when they're old. You're
Real
talking
old,
now. Yeah.
real old.
Yeah. Yeah. When they tell you it's
So-
a 5-year-old and it's 25.
You can tell just by
Well,
looking
and
at it,
the,
can't
and the
you?
back, the sway back, sway
the
back,
back, yeah.
and the color of their hair. They start getting gray hair on their face
Yeah.
too.
I mean, hell, you can, when you pull up, you can tell, I mean, this horse is fucking over 10 or under 10 by looking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, almost.
Yeah.
A lot, I mean,
12 or 15. You
right,
got
you
to
start looking. And then, is there anything else that you kind of, now that I'm talking about this, that when you,
But I mean, that's kind of because you just want to make because
you want to you love backing a horse up too, right? When you get on a horse, you always tell me the first thing you fucking do, but once you put the saddle blankets on and the saddle, and you put the fucking, hopefully the headstalls on at that point, and you tighten up the saddle and you get everything fucking good. When you first get on the horse, the first thing you fucking do is back him up, right?
Sometimes before I get on them,
Sometimes before
because
you
when
back.
you cinch them up, they hold air.
Yeah.
So if you back them up, they have to relax and release that air. And
Good
so as
lesson
soon as I
for
get
some
on a
people.
horse, I'll back them
You
up,
back 'em up.
and turn them in
around.
circles both directions.
Yeah.
Just kind of get them limbered up,
Yeah.
and make sure they're not gonna.
And the little bit of knowledge I have is when you get on a horse, and if you have the reins in one hand and you kind of just motion one way, and if it already is turning, that's like a really good, highly trained horse. And if you have to like pull it around with your other hand, sometimes that's okay, and the horse will respond. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I was gonna go somewhere with that, but if
Well, they
you
neck-
pull on
they
their
neck
if you pull on
rein.
their neck and they go with it, that's fine. But if they fight you, that's something that's like right away. It's like, okay, this horse doesn't want to do what I want, even with a little encouragement.
The other problem is too is the horses have to have the right bit in their mouth.
That's very important.
That's very important. And sometimes if you buy a new horse, if the people don't know what they've been
Not
using
having
or
good
don't
equipment
know,
can get you fucking hurt.
yeah,
on
you
a
gotta,
horse.
and sometimes you gotta change bits.
Yeah.
Especially if you get it from some people that bought it and can't ride it and don't know. You might have to change up their mouthpiece
Yeah.
because that's very critical to get a control of them. And
Yeah.
well, you want them to be comfortable.
Yeah.
If they're uncomfortable, they're not going to cooperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, is there anything else you can think of like about that you interesting about horses that you've learned over the years? Like,
Another one is if you go to buy a horse and this is what my uncle Buzz Goodson said, if they'll load in a trailer, you can lead them in a trailer, but if they'll back off a trailer without you having to get in there and back them off, he said that's worth some money.
how do you
Load and unload.
How
off
do they
of
back off a trailer by themselves? You open the door and they just back off?
Well, they should know. I mean, you got to train them.
Shit.
You got to train them.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's worth a lot of money.
Or it's like I said, the other.
Because you can get in a trailer with a horse and get hurt.
Yeah.
They get
No
scared. You
shit.
get in there with them, and they're scared to get off or whatever.
Well, it's a
or
tight
getting
space. Yeah.
And then they can hurt you, and then they usually don't do it on purpose, but
Yeah.
you can get hurt.
What percentage of horses would you say are kind of mean spirited? Not many,
I don't think any of them are mean spirited.
but some of them get spoiled. Is the thing.
I think the humans
Spoil them.
they ruin the horses.
Right.
Because if
Because horses are very fucking smart.
there's a guy to check out. His name's Bobby Kerr, Kerr. He lives up in
Aren't
Hyco,
they some of the
Texas.
smartest animals you've ever?
And he goes out and he adopts these Mustangs.
Okay.
And he's been on the Good Morning America He gets these old cars and old trucks. He's got a horse that'll get in this old car with him and sit down in the front seat.
Yeah.
And he works his cow dogs with them, and it's a pretty neat deal to watch him at a rodeo. Bobby Kerr.
Okay.
But he gets these wild Mustangs and trains them, and he said they're smart. So you think a wild Mustang, their instinct first thing is to kill you because you're a threat to them. Because they're a wild animal. It's just like a lion.
They usually run, don't they?
They run, but I mean, if you corner them up, so you're trying to get them in a corral and catch them and put a and this guy's got a he's good with them. Bobby Kerr.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
He's good to watch with those Mustangs. He's got a good show with them.
Okay. So let's see. I guess before we move on, is there anything else you want to say about kind of growing up and your experiences with animals and just living in New Mexico, living here?
Well, yeah, New Mexico's different than here for sure. I mean, we don't have any humidity. They call it the high plains because the elevation, and y'all are going to think, oh, it's a desert, but the elevation there's 4,000 feet. So you think about it, it's not the mountains, it's the high plains. Our elevation here is what, 300 feet above sea level?
I think like 5 or 6.
And so up there, it's 4,000 feet. At Portales, 4,000 feet. So no humidity, not much rainfall. And we always used to say, don't let our pickups run below a half a tank of gas. Because gas out, it ain't like here, every 20 miles, there's a convenience store and a gas
far
station.
out there. Yeah.
Still that way. I mean,
Yeah.
you get on some of them trips, you're going to drive 100 miles
Yeah.
to pass a gas station. Which back then, those trucks didn't get but 6 or 8 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
We didn't get 30 miles to the gallon now. So, but it's just a different experience, cold winters.
It's cold out
and
there.
the wind blows
Yeah.
a lot.
It's
and the
flat plains
tumbleweeds
out there in the East New Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dust, the sand blows. When that wind blows, tumbleweeds and sand.
Yeah.
So, different. No humidity to lots of humidity.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Be 95 degrees out there, come from here and go up there, and everybody out there is hot, and you're like, hey, this feels pretty good.
Feels cool. Yeah.
Feels pretty good because there's no humidity.
Hmm.
Humidity out there is probably 2 or 3%, 5%.
Yeah.
They get 20%. They're humid out there. So it's a different
It's a different
deal.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything out there is ag based and stuff, and there's like I just feel like it's like pretty.
Well, so there you got so about half of the population of the state, and I'm going to be off a little bit. It used to be half the population was in Albuquerque of the whole state. Now I think that's changed to it's Albuquerque and Las Cruces. There's 2 or 3 towns, and that's
Take it up.
the half of the population lives in those big towns. So the rest of
Yeah.
New Mexico is so rural.
Yeah.
You know what I
There's
mean?
nothing out there.
Yeah, it's just ranch country and communities, And the other thing too, when I was growing up out there, and I didn't think about it till I moved here, but every little community, they would have a church, a post office, and a liquor store.
Yeah.
Those 3 things. They may not have a gas station. They're going to have a post office and a liquor store.
That's funny.
Yeah, so definitely different.
Well, what's one thing you would say that most people that you run into have a misconception about, like animals, like either horses or more specifically cattle, or either one, or just animals in general? Or can you think of one?
I don't know. Depends on where they're from.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Just looking in that direction a bit about how many kids nowadays don't understand where eggs, milk, cheese,
Yeah.
hamburger meat, or flour, tortillas, hamburger.
Yeah.
I think you ask them, and this is, a lot of people are going to laugh about it, but yeah, it comes from Walmart or it comes from HEB. They have
Yeah.
no idea about the guy that's sweating, Or another story's a guy called Paul Harvey. He's dead, but he had and you can Google it. It's called The Life of a Farmer.
Okay.
Pulls the calf out of the mama or saves the saves the foal and the mama dies.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but and nobody, a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's out there sweating and working in the heat, in the all weather conditions to put the vegetables at HEB or the fish at HEB
Mm.
or the hamburger buns at you know, somebody's got to grow the wheat to make the flour. You
Yeah.
know, somebody's got to grow the corn to make the tortilla chips.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got to grow the watermelons. They
Yeah.
just had Chicago Windler was in Luling with a guy I know named Rudy Hernandez at his watermelon patch. He grows watermelons, and they're all in Luling right now. All his there's other growers, but he's one of the
Yeah.
bigger growers.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay.
so
Well, I guess we can move on to more current topics then. Um, so the debate happened, what, 2 days ago? I think so.
was it Thursday?
Thursday night.
Thursday
Today's
night?
Saturday, so it happened 2 days ago. Now, so for people that have been under a rock, we're talking about the presidential debate. It was the first one for the runoff of the presidential election for 2024. The election date, I believe, is November 5th. Um, I was kind of looking up some dates the other day here. Let me see real quick.
Super Tuesday, is that the, I don't know what, like the 5th or 7th? 5th?
What is that when you
It's called Super Tuesday, isn't
when
it?
you vote? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
nope.
Tuesday. Yeah, November 5th. The second debate is going to be September 10th. The Republican convention is July 15th through the 18th. The Democratic convention is the 19th through the 22nd, and then yeah, election day. So my first question, I guess, was you've been a you supported Trump in 2016, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And 2020
I better get up here by this microphone.
and 2020.
Yes.
Okay. So has anything changed from 2016 to 2020 till now about how you feel about him and your support for him?
No.
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 What else would I think? Like, I think everyone knows like why people relate to Trump, and because he basically said what hasn't been said in politics for like years, and he like provides a voice for like people that feel like they haven't been heard, and like the small people, and like I kind of like some of the stuff he says I even resonate with, and like I feel like why haven't they been saying this shit for years? But what am I trying to say? I guess, are you like, what do you think about all this stuff that's going on with like the trials and stuff? Like, how do you view that?
You know, I don't know. You know, I don't think we're getting the truth about it.
Yeah.
I think we're you know, did Trump do that or did Nancy Pelosi do that? I mean, and I just don't think that. I don't think we're getting the truth. So, and I know he went on trial. You know, and I see a lot of people say he should have been okay.
Yeah.
You know what I resonate on about, and America said it for years. Democrats and Republicans. I'm pretty sure Democrats said it too.
Uh-huh.
We needed somebody in office that was not a career politician.
Yeah.
Okay, I voted for Trump. Now, do I or did I agree with everything he said? Obviously not.
Yeah.
I did not. He screwed himself by playing with Twitter. He should have never got on Twitter. That hurt him, in my opinion. The other thing I see from being old school is when I grew up, and it didn't matter who the president was. It didn't matter.
There was a little bit more respect for it.
Democrat or Republican. And I don't know who my grandparents, I relate to my grandparents because they were old fashioned. I don't know if they voted Democrat or Republican or voted for the man that was running that they thought was going to do the best job.
Mm-hmm.
But they may not agree with the president, their president or the one they didn't vote for, but they didn't talk bad about him. They didn't agree with him,
Right.
or his policies or what he was doing, but they didn't degrade him and talk bad about him.
Yeah.
They had respect. We've lost all that.
Yeah.
We've lost that, and that's
Yeah.
sad. You know, I try to respect President Biden. He's our president. I disagree with about everything he does, but still, I try not to get on social media. You do because you see something that's funny,
Right.
but I try not to bash him. Yeah, I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Right.
saying I don't, but you see
Right.
a joke about him, and it's almost
Yeah.
too good not to have some of your friends laugh along.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of where I'm at with it, and we needed a politician in there that wasn't a career politician, and Joe Biden's a career politician for I don't know how many years, 30 something years or more. And
Yeah. Who do you think Twitter hurt Trump with? His people that supported him, like you, or do you think it hurt him with like
I think it
the
hurt him with
his,
everybody, in my
really?
opinion.
Did you care about what he put on there?
No, but I don't get my feelings hurt.
That's my point. His main people
He was hurting people's feelings, and
that were already his opponents, right? So it was like this crybaby thing where they could be like, wah, 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 like he's being mean. It wasn't people that didn't care like me or people that were already his supporters didn't care
But-
what he put. It was only the people that already didn't like him that used that against him. And
But he just ran his mouth. I mean,
So-
he ought to just keep
yeah.
his mouth. But that's Trump. He's going to run
I think
his
that's
mouth.
what some
You know what
people
I'm saying?
liked about him a little bit.
Well, no, some people did.
Yeah.
But I kept saying from the get-go, boy, this is just going to screw him up. I mean, it's going to mess him up. And
Do you want someone that's? I'd rather someone do that a little too much than withhold a lot of things. You know what I mean? Than a
No,
president that's keeping
I
all
agree.
these secrets.
I agree, but I think that
So it's like,
that-
what do you want?
That hurt him with some
But
people.
I think people are starting to get
And
over
maybe
that
some of his
now.
own people.
Yeah, I think people are starting to get over that now.
Well, sure, we took Aunt Jemima off the syrup, and we didn't change nothing.
You know, it's
You know
like
what I'm saying?
Trump allegedly did all this stuff, slept with Stormy Daniels and paid her off. I don't think anyone gives a fuck.
I don't care. He's gonna
Who
pay.
cares?
He's gonna pay for that.
Nobody cares.
He'll pay for that in the end.
Who?
Trump.
I don't think he will. I don't think anybody gives a fuck.
I'm talking
I think,
about when he dies.
yeah,
decide
but
if he's going
I
to
don't
heaven
even
or
know
hell.
if that even all happened. That's the allegations against him. But I think the Democrats are trying to use that to show everyone he's a bad guy. He's an effing bad guy. And I think everyone is like, we don't give a fuck. I think everyone is to the point like, is he gonna do good by the country? Okay, then we want him.
We want him.
We don't give a fuck if he's a bad guy. We don't give a fuck because it may or may not be true. But everybody is a little obnoxious every now and
I don't
then, and
care
not
what-
everybody.
I don't care what he does in his personal life. Let's get America
you know,
back
yeah.
on track.
So I just think that they're beating that. I think that's starting to turn against them. Just to the average Joe that's in the middle, that's undecided, that's watching things, and because if you notice during the debate, which I think everyone noticed, half the time Biden was like this. Like, how dare you say that? It's like, dude, we're past that. We're way past that.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is gonna fix this shit?
Well, you know what's
I mean,
all over.
holy.
What's all over, and I
And
don't.
frankly, if you're gonna be dealing with foreign leaders that are fierce, don't you want someone fierce?
Yep.
I mean,
But you know what they're talking about, and
I
it's
don't
on
know.
all the it's on the news all the time now. They're talking about for all Americans, and they're talking about the price of groceries,
oh yeah,
how expensive they are.
yeah,
And I don't keep up with if they're up 20% or 30%, but that's a huge. I mean, think
That's a
about
big
it.
one.
You got young families with kids, and they're trying
Yeah.
to make their lunches or buy diapers and formula. And if all that stuff is going through the roof, they're feeling it in their pocketbooks big time.
yeah,
I don't, because I don't have any young kids at home anymore.
yeah.
But if I had young kids and
Yeah.
a family at home, and that's what they're talking about. It's on. I don't care
Everybody's
what news
mind.
you watch
I said-
or
yeah.
social media. It's on there.
yeah, the economy.
The
Yep.
economy, and it's all, and 90% of it is on the price of food.
Yeah. And they can kind of say what they want, and it's hard to tell. Like, things were better under Trump, but it's hard to know how long that would have lasted and if he did things just to keep it good for the short being. But it's like things aren't good now during Biden, and I haven't looked into it that much to know why, but it's like you haven't. It doesn't seem like you've done as like. It doesn't seem like you've done well for the economy, whatever the reason is. And like, of course, Biden's gonna say it's because of the mess Trump left me, and he was riding
sure.
the coattails of Obama, and all this finger pointing. But it's like the bottom line is things were whatever they were during Obama. They were fine. They were pretty good during Trump. Okay, COVID really threw a wrench in things, and I
Yeah.
would have loved to see what would have happened to the economy if COVID wouldn't have hit, and if he wouldn't have
That
had to
would
give
have
the
been a-
payments,
that would have been
because then
it
we
would
would have been able to see if Trump really would have been able to keep the economy good the whole 4 years, which it seemed like
But
he
so
probably
so
would.
a couple of key points. So Biden changed the oil production. I don't know if he shut it down 100%
But
because
he changed it.
we're down in the oil country here, and I'm seeing a lot of work going on. But I don't know if it's not new wells. So
Yeah.
he messed with our oil production in the U.S. Okay, he did that for sure. He changed the border policy. He did that. So whether you like it or not, but he did that,
Yeah.
and he defunded the police. He didn't stop that, and they burned and rioted in how many cities,
Yeah, that was stupid.
and they didn't do any. And
that
so
was after George Floyd, right?
I don't know
I think
how
so.
all that, but
Yeah.
that, and so there's three key things that that has changed.
Does that make you feel safe if you have a city like in Seattle where they took over a couple of blocks
No.
for about a week and a half?
No,
How does that make everybody feel?
and so now
That right there is all this other stuff is conjecture. Open border, closed border. You're a rat. You're a rat. You're a killer. You're a killer. For a week and a half, Portland was taken over by thugs and terrorists, and you didn't do a goddamn thing about it. That right there
should have had
should
your
be
local,
enough for you to lose
your
the
local
election.
National Guard in.
Because if that happened in Austin, how much more would we care about it? The fact that happened at all in a major in anywhere.
Well, because we're not there, we weren't there. So so it's like it didn't affect us, even though.
But it's like,
but
what
it
the
happened
fuck?
in more than one town, didn't it?
How many people died? It happened
Well,
in a few cities,
But
but
they had
Yeah.
some of those Black Lives
That's
Matters
insane.
protests in Austin, and some people got killed over that.
yeah,
Some
that's
people
crazy,
got
dude.
killed. Maybe it was self defense or not. I don't keep up with all the
Yeah.
details, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
you got to keep the people safe, and when there's a people taking over a 2 or 3 blocks in a city for a week or more,
But it was on the news in Austin. I didn't keep up with all the details, but it's been recent. So a guy was threatened, and he called 911. I think the guy had a knife or something, trying to steal his car or something. I don't know. But since the guy didn't stab him, and it didn't escalate, and he didn't steal the car, the police department didn't come. I don't know if they're understaffed or it's just not an escalated.
yeah, they are.
event high
No, they are
enough.
understaffed.
And so,
Yeah.
so there's another thing, and that would not have happened. The police would have been there.
Because now, if we have trouble at a job site or whatever, we call the Austin police.
They
It's
ain't
known
coming.
they're not coming.
Huh.
Someone has to be dead almost.
Somebody's got to be dead
Yeah.
or wounded, and got to be gunshot
Yeah.
fired.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's not good. If we, I've never been a fan of the police. The older I get, the more my view on that has come back to kind of a moderate and like reasonable view. And like I understand
I didn't
that
like
they're-
them either when I was younger. 'cause
I understand that they're necessary.
Couple of nights in jail, you don't like.
You don't
'em.
like them. I understand, and like I understand it goes with the territory and the job and everything. But if you can't keep the people safe, which is what they're supposed to do, and you have this craziness going on, that's not restoring my faith that things are going on. Like, I mean, I'd never have faith in the system and gonna believe any of this shit. But if you're just looking at a bare bones,
Not do anything.
what are you doing?
Then
So
you're going to be
that's-
on your own,
that's
taking care
wild,
of yourself and your family.
Which I mean that if that's what it is, it's what it is. But don't sell us the lie that we're safe and protected when we're far from it.
But they went, that Biden's bunch went through this to defund the police.
Yeah, they're the ones that are pushing the more extreme narratives too. They try to act like the Republicans are the crazy ones, but it's clear to see the Democrats are pushing the more crazy narratives. I don't know, man. It's I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it.
But
at this point.
now they're saying they want Joe Biden to step down.
Who's saying that?
Well, they had it on the New York Times,
Okay.
but I think
The New York
some of the
Times wants it.
Democrats were
Yeah.
saying it.
Yeah, that's
That- if
interesting.
the quote was something like this:
They're just trying to get us ready for it
to do his American duties or his presidential duties
and step down.
for his country.
Yeah.
He should step down.
Yeah.
But they're saying on the Newsmax I watched, but they're just now coming up with this.
Well, people have
I
been
mean,
saying
they haven't
this.
seen this now all of a sudden.
People have been saying this, but
But now it's mainstream media, so it's
Yeah.
got to be true.
Well, maybe they're just getting you ready for it, you know? They just ease it out there, ease it out there. Um, who knows? There's a lot of stuff around Biden. There's like all these conspiracies about if there's multiple Bidens or if they're drugging him up or like I don't know. It's so weird. And the Democrats are weird. Like
And we're not gonna know the truth.
no.
You know, they're not gonna give us the truth.
I wish COVID wouldn't have happened at all, but I wish that could have really happened under one president so we could have seen how one president handled it the whole way cuz like half of it was under Trump and then half of it was under Biden. But I liked how Trump handled it a lot better than they did.
So I'm gonna just
And Trump
change
nailed it during the debate real quick. He said people hated the mandates and he nailed it.
Yep.
That's what we hated.
Yep.
The mandates.
So and I don't. Somebody can Google it and research it, but so ivermectin. Go back to my cattle experience. Ivermectin is a cattle dewormer.
yeah.
It's also approved for humans
Yeah.
for it's a skin
Yeah.
skin something, and it's in pill form. And so one country, so ivermectin is cheap.
Yeah.
One country, as soon as the COVID got in there, I think they gave ivermectin pills away or sold them for little or nothing.
Uh-huh.
And and a friend of mine that got COVID, his doctor's in San Antonio, and this friend of mine and his wife are in their 50s, and their doctor told them, me and this friend of mine had a discussion about ivermectin, and I took the cattle ivermectin.
Yeah.
Same dose as a cow. It ain't that much. Put it in a little Gatorade or something, iced tea. Drink it. You don't taste it, whatever. So I talked to my buddy about it. And he goes, "We have a follow-up call today, media call, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
with our doctor in San Antonio." He asked him. He said, "Have you all heard of a drug called ivermectin?" A friend of mine said, "That's funny. I just talked to a buddy of mine that's in the animal industry, and he was talking about it."
Yeah.
He said, with your age, over 50, he said, it's not approved to help COVID, but what we've found out, if we use this, you already got COVID. So it's probably gonna, instead of you having it 10 days or 5 days or whatever, it's gonna take some days, reduce the time frame. But he said the main thing we're trying to do at this point is keep you out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So my buddy said, we're all for it.
Yeah.
And so it's all weight dosed,
Right.
My buddy's a little heavier than his wife, so he had
Yeah.
to take whatever pills, and she took them. And then I think in 48 hours or something, they took another round.
Yeah.
But they didn't go to the hospital.
Well, that was a big thing on the news.
And now they're
Did you hear
saying,
about
though, that the government tried to keep ivermectin from us.
Yeah.
But yet we're full of fentanyl now. And how many people are dying on fentanyl
Exactly.
coming across
Yeah.
the border?
I loved it in the debate when Biden said the seniors are going to have no problem getting drugs, all the drugs. And I was like, all the drugs, all the legal drugs that you fucking think are safe and okay, that even drugs that are not illegal, like ivermectin, as soon as the government thinks that this is not safe for you, this is not approved for this, they could take it away and try to discourage us. Who the fuck? How dare you, motherfucking faggots? Who the fuck are you to tell us what the fuck we can take and what's safe for us?
But
Joe Rogan went on there and he took ivermectin and he's a bigwig now, and they got on CNN and tried to make him seem like a dumbass for doing it,
They said
and
he's
he
gonna
ate
be
their
like
ass out.
mooing like a cow or some shit. Didn't
Yeah, they
say
like,
that?
oh, he's taking horse medicine, horse dewormer, which, like you said, it is, but it's approved for humans also. And let alone when they do the study, it does have effects. He ended up making them look like dumbass motherfuckers.
So we just, and I don't want to get on COVID, but we look back, and Dr. Fauci, get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the booster, get the vaccine. They never once said we need to be taking vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc, and ivermectin could help you. Ask your healthcare provider about it. They never said anything preventative.
Joe Rogan and many others have said
never
this.
said
Yes.
anything preventative.
Yes.
And now I know people that have gotten the vaccine and they've got health problems because of the vaccine.
There are potential health problems, and they vary person to person, which is strange. It's
and even
sad.
this year, flu season.
I've heard
get
there's
your
infertility
COVID
issues as
shot.
well.
Get your COVID shot and your flu shot. When
Fuck off.
Bye.
I got something for you, Fauci. Come down to Central Texas, bitch.
He's gone. We don't see him no more. Where's he at?
He's been here and there, but they don't want you. I mean,
He needs to be in prison.
he definitely should do about a year or two, according to me. That wouldn't hurt me at all. He just straight up lied, dude. And then at the time, he would say something, and then he would be out in public.
They let him do it. Well,
How dare you?
And here again, if you watch some people do and some people don't, but if you watch the news every morning, it was a different scenario on what you should do today, right? I mean, it was something.
It
different.
wasn't every day, but it was every 2 or 3 days.
Every 2 or 3 days,
fucking
they had
dumb.
a different scenario.
It was
right?
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
A mask works. A mask doesn't work. Wear 3 masks. You got to have this N95
And
mask.
then once they did get it right, but nobody paid attention to it, because once they did get to a point where they said, if it's not this certain mask, you're basically not doing shit. But by that time, it was too late. Everybody already had it in their head. We wanted all the bots around town and everywhere, the retards, they had it in their head. You need to wear it. Everyone was so scared. By that time, the brainwashing was in. But they were saying it on TV, hey, your regular mask, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, it's basically useless. But people weren't watching that shit. It didn't matter. They were so scared and brainwashed.
Yeah.
But they said,
you got to have
if you don't keep it clean, so basically if it touches
you
the
got to have
ground
the
or
one
it
that they
touches
use in a hospital in a surgical room.
N95 or whatever.
N95, yeah.
If you don't have that, it's not doing shit. And then if it gets dirty, it's not doing shit. If it gets wet, it's not doing shit. If you're around someone for more than 15 fucking minutes, it's not doing shit. If you're outside, it's not doing shit. Fuck off. If you're in your car alone, it ain't doing shit. What the fuck?
So I had a.
Now people are starting to wear them again.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid, I had tonsillitis a lot. So get the tonsils out. I had tonsillitis, couldn't take them out. So during COVID, I got a tonsil infection, and I figured, okay, it's probably COVID because it's going to attack my tonsil first. So I went and I took everything I could get without going to the doctor, and I couldn't get rid of it. So I went to the emergency room, and they had to drain it. They put a needle down in there and drain the fluid.
Yeah.
So the lady sent me to, I guess it'd be an allergy specialist or a ear, nose, and throat specialist in Seguin. And I said, why do I got to go there? She goes, you need to go over there for a checkup and make sure this infection is cleared up. And I said, okay. And she said, and the good thing is, once you're in there, you'll be in their system. If you have another problem, you can go see them. So this is COVID, so I know going in, I'm going to have a mask, right? Into the anywhere you went, health facility mask.
Yeah.
So bandana. I had no mask. I put my bandana on. I go in there and check in, and the girl, and it was an office for about 4 or 5 different doctors. So, Mr. Lemons, come up here, please. I said, okay. She goes, you're going to have to wear a mask. I said, I have a mask. No, not that kind. It's not going to work here. You need one of our masks. I said, God, you're kidding me. God almighty. So I watch her, and she goes to a box with her hands, her fingers. She picks a mask up out of that box, pulls it out like a Kleenex, and hands it to me. And I said, you're kidding me. What do you mean? I said, I don't know where your hands have been. I mean, if she'd have brought it to me in a plastic
She didn't have
wrapper,
gloves on?
No. She just went over there and it was a box like you pull a.
Why didn't she let you get it?
Pull a tissue out of?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stupid.
And I said, "You're kidding me." I said, "You're kidding me." There's people in there looking at me, listening.
Yeah.
I'm making a stir.
Yeah.
I said, "This is what I get."
Yeah.
And COVID's so rampant. She says,
when was this?
"This was probably a year ago. I was in COVID. I went to Seguin for a checkup.
In 2023?
I don't know.
Or it was a couple years
whenever
ago.
it was.
Yeah.
But it was during COVID.
During COVID, yeah.
Wherever you went, yeah. So I said, "You're kidding me." And she goes, and then she tells me, "When you go back to see the doctor, you won't
can
have
take
to
it off."
wear it." And I said,
It was like the restaurant
Are
thing.
you
Wear it
fucking-
when you get in, but then when you get to the table, take it off.
"Yeah."
I
So-
went to the
so I went in
emergency
there
room.
and I took the mask off. I told the doctor, I said,
the
"What in
point?
the hell is the deal?" She goes, "It's because there's all these other doctors and the
all these other
people in the
people."
lobby." And I said, "This shit don't even work anyway." She goes, "I didn't say it, but yes." The doctor,
was no evidence.
The doctor, she told
There was
me.
no evidence.
I said, "This don't even work," and she said, "I didn't say it, but yes."
Yes. Yeah. You can know it didn't work because when they were saying what to do on the TV, they had not even tested the theory they were giving us. They hadn't said we've tested this for 2 months and the data supports this. So go. They were just telling us. And matter of fact, they had no time before that. There was no time where they didn't have any time to test it. Bullshit. And I went. I think it was in 2021 at the very beginning of the year. I had a kidney infection. Let's see. Was it? Yeah, I think it was at the very beginning of 2021 when COVID was going on. And I went up to the emergency room here in San Marcos, and they didn't ask if I had COVID, if I had a shot or anything. I don't even think they made me wear a mask.
The protocol.
But it was late at night. It was like 1 in the morning because I couldn't go to fucking sleep. I tried to go to sleep.
You can't have COVID late at night. It only.
Well, there was 2 ladies there, the receptionist and the nurse that checked me in and walked me in, and they both had masks. So I think they figured,
we got our masks.
What's the point? And they didn't give a fuck about it. It was.
Man, depending on where you
strange.
went, who you saw, and what you did.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to say about politics right now? What's going on with
Trump?
the debate?
Trump.
How did the debate went about how we watched a little bit of it before this and kind of talked about it, but did it kind of go how you thought?
I guess because they could turn it off, but I mean,
did you like that where they could turn the mics off and on?
I think so.
Yeah.
If not, Trump would have went nuts.
I think that helped him because Biden fucked himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish they would have another debate.
And honestly, I feel like the commentators were more friendly with Trump than Biden.
Yeah.
Because there was one time when Trump wanted to keep talking to get a point off, and then the camera switched over and it showed the commentators, and the lady was like, she just nicely was like,
Right.
It's his turn now.
But the other thing
And
is
they
too,
cut Biden's mic off 2 or 3 times.
they have a tough job.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the moderator of that deal.
Yeah.
At all, So, but now I'm thinking ahead. If Biden does drop out, and they were talking about this on Newsmax or something earlier today about they got a time frame when we can go back to Democrats.
What do you think the time frame is about?
I don't remember. They were
when's the
talking about
convention?
it.
I said August, so they got about 2 months.
I don't know if they vote before. Yeah, so I don't know the time frame, but it was on there that if they don't do it where they can have another vote, which I don't know how they'd have time to have another vote. I guess that'd be
They won't. That's why they're
quick and
waiting so
overnight,
late.
quick.
Yeah.
Then I guess
And they had this debate. They
whoever it
pushed
is-
this debate further forward, so whoever the candidate is will have to do one or none.
Who? I don't know who they said the Democratic Party, but who
Who
that
would you
is,
think, Gavin Newsom or Michelle
or
Obama?
or somebody in there would have to just select somebody to be a.
Who do you think, Gavin Newsom or Michelle?
I don't know. Hillary Clinton.
Who would scare you the most, if anybody? Nobody. To go against Trump and actually beat him?
Hillary.
I think Michelle.
You
Because
think
she's
she'd win?
younger, she's
and
black.
Maybe right. Michael.
They're both women, Michael. Ooh. Yeah, that's a conspiracy,
Come
isn't
on,
it?
Michael. Maybe Mike Tyson.
Yeah. You want a kiss?
Hey, what's this?
Uh,
Tomahawk. Hakatama.
Hawk Tuah?
What is that shit?
There's a girl. Have you seen? Okay.
We're
There's these
changing the
things-
subject, but
Yeah, there's these things where guys will go out on 6th Street or whatever, in big cities outside of bars, and they'll interview people and ask them risque questions, to, get stuff that's gonna be good views online. And a lot of times they ask the girl are you single? When's your last boyfriend? What do you do in bed? Oh, whatever. So they asked this girl, what's something that you do in bed to keep a guy around? And she said, well, you got to hawk to and spit on that thing.
Oh.
And she was real country.
Hawk to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've been sitting there, everyone what the hell? My girlfriend's
pull
a
it
hawk.
up.
My girlfriend's a hawk to.
Yeah.
Some guy had it on his truck. I'm a hawk to holler.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Are you kidding me? And that was real?
Yeah.
Where was she at?
I don't know.
We need to find out where she was at.
Oh,
in
she's
Kentucky, Tennessee.
Kentucky or somewhere.
You got a hawk.
It's crazy, right?
She's got a little throat.
This is for you.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because I can't figure out where that came from. I don't know. Everybody's talking this hawk talk. Hawk to, eh?
Too.
H-A-U-C-K, hawk.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, they're doing the street interviews. This is her though. I mean, I think I said this on another video, but I don't know if I actually
this looks like
accidentally.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I don't know if I accidentally had myself muted, but I said the reason I think this popped off so much is because she had 2 or 3 drinks in her, so she was not super drunk or sloppy, but
We were
So we were talking about reacting to the Hawk Tuah video, but we actually got into a conversation right after our restroom break, and we're just gonna go on to that, and then we'll get onto the video reaction after that. So we were talking about they're starting to bring religion and the Bible back into Louisiana
They're
and
going to have the
Oklahoma in the schools.
Ten Commandments. I don't know if they're going to post it in every school. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but they're going to, it's been on the news. They're going to bring in the Ten Commandments back into the Louisiana schools. And now Oklahoma said they're going to bring the Bible back into the schools. And I'm a church going man. I'm not religious because there's a lot of religions out there. I'm a church going man, and so Oklahoma says they're going to have Bible back in the church.
Or the
I mean,
school.
back in the school. I'm sorry. So I'm thinking to myself, man, how are those teachers going to incorporate that into their daily curriculum? I'm thinking myself today because this is all brand new
Yeah.
on the news this morning. Then they had a representative, and he wasn't the governor of Oklahoma, but he was an up and up guy, and he started saying, he said, well. And I didn't get to hear the whole conversation, but the country was founded on Bible-based stuff, the Constitution, our, everything. So he said it's going to go back to, from what I understood in Oklahoma, it's going to go back, and I don't think a lot of schools are doing this, but they're going to go back to teaching history.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost a lot of that in the schools. We've lost. They're not teaching cursive anymore. They're not saying the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. And so we can get back to America.
Yeah.
What America to me was founded on.
Yeah.
They're all going to take off from work on the 4th of July, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people get paid for it, but we really realizing why we're
you appreciate
off work.
all the freedoms and luxuries this country has given you. Yeah, they're not as fortunate in a lot of other places. Like
Yeah.
the poor people here live so much better than the poor people other places. Think about all the other countries where like the women don't have rights. They can't fucking drive. They got to wear the fucking thing over their head.
Yeah.
You think it's
Yeah.
rough here?
Yeah.
Go to Iraq or Iran.
Well, I tell you what, look around, and this observation I made a few months ago, but I drive 20 miles to work down 183, and almost everybody I drive by or pass by, or they pass me in the mornings, they're driving new cars, new trucks, new SUVs. They may not be brand new, but they're newer than what I drive. You don't see any old cars on the road anymore, old beat up cars. And I started thinking, why? The people that have those older cars can't afford a new car, and they can't afford the gas to get out and go anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
I heard there's more old cars on the road now than ever. Just it might not be by a large percentage.
What age are they calling old?
Yeah.
I mean,
but they're just saying people are hanging on to their cars more than ever because people can't afford new cars.
Afford them.
Even if they're new from a year or two ago, you're still seeing it as new. So it might take a couple years for us to see this trend and for us to visually. But like, I basically think this last year there was probably less new cars bought is what the thing would be. But yeah, people don't have money but I'm with you. Like the last 10 years, everyone's new car all the time, and it's like, where's the money?
Where's the money
But
coming
I think
from?
it's finally starting to slow up.
I don't get it.
Yeah. But anyway, I think bringing religion back into school could be a good thing. At least, I don't know how I feel about it overall.
I think overall the picture I'm looking at is let's bring respect back. Because how many people have I talked to that wanted to be teachers and don't want to be because the kids are so misbehaved in school, and the parents of now think that the teachers need to discipline the kids.
Yeah.
It starts at home.
I agree. And here's the thing. I don't know which religion has it right. Probably none of them. They all might be just a little off or missing a little piece or what have you. But I do believe in God, and I do think it's important for an individual to believe in God because you don't want to get into a habit of bowing down to a human thing and idolizing humans, but you do need God to look up to and to have someone who's your superior, who's is what am I trying to say? It's just healthy to have someone that is above you. in a number of ways.
Positive in Jesus.
In a positive way. And that's looking out for you and loves you and etc. But someone that you're responsible to and that you can't just go around fucking everybody over and thinking you're hot shit. There is someone that loves everybody and that made you.
Love.
And if you go fucking everybody around, that's not love. So there's something you gotta be responsible to that loves you, but it's like a loving father. You don't want to disappoint the loving father, and it's good to have that in mind when you go through life, because it's real, and because it keeps you responsible to something, and instead of just thinking the opposite, which is like a nihilistic way to look at things, where I'm not important, nothing's going on, this world's not important, no one cares about me, I don't care about anyone, potentially you could start thinking, versus the other way, which is, and it's real. It's not like everyone wants to believe this make-believe thing. It's real. So
it's really going on.
Yeah.
You got to have, and Jesus is the way to God.
Yeah.
You go through Jesus to get to God. And Jesus is nothing. If you get into the Gospels, Jesus is nothing but love.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Love and the truth.
Love.
Yeah.
I mean, he's love.
Yeah. So I was going
to the fullest. He's loved to the fullest.
Yeah.
You know, if you're down and out,
yeah,
you start talking to them, they'll help you out.
Yeah. And I think the 10 Commandments are not hard rules to follow, really, that would be good and healthy to have in schools, and something that even if you're really not religious.
And that's really the basic. My pastor says that there's more than 10 commandments in the Bible. I mean, you have to look for them, but that was the 10 most important, I guess, or somebody came up with those 10. But he said there's a lot more commandments in there that we should follow. But I think all this is in a positive note, a very positive note, that we've just got to get back to respect our neighbor, respect ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, respect the lady at the grocery store, you know.
Yeah, I think something that also kind of was new to me recently is like the government, because they lie so much, and it's so fucking easy if you're a thinker to see that, you start thinking, okay, I'm going to rebel against most everything. You might not think that, but subconsciously you start rebelling against a lot of things because a lot of things are bullshit. And then you see God or you see religion and you think, this is bullshit. God's bullshit. You rebel against that. And then you rebelling starts becoming part of who you are. And I saw something recently as part of my journey getting closer to God. I saw a video on YouTube that said, being a rebel and rebelling is not a virtue. And I thought, wow, that's a message from God to me. Because I thought all these years, I'm rebelling against the government, rebel against this. And I thought, and they tricked me into rebelling against God.
Yeah.
And I thought, when you know he's real, and it's different for everyone how you know, so no one could tell you to know. You got to figure out your own way. But when I knew, I thought, why would I want to rebel against God? And it's so comforting when you have someone that loves you and is on your side that you don't have to. Now, you want to rebel against stuff that's cheesy and lame and fake, like Fauci and COVID.
I mean, God's
rebelling all the time against everything can be dangerous. Think about that.
I mean, we got to stand up. We got to stand up for what's right.
Right. But I thought to myself, rebelling all the time, I could see.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's interesting. And everyone has it sounds cheesy as fuck. And I used to hate hearing this, but like everyone has their own journey to find God. So it's hard to really like force it on people. They got to find their own way.
So my pastor says, he says, well, people come to church and my pastor will preach and he'll say, okay, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not singling nobody out. He goes, I don't drive around town seeing what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
I don't have time. He said, I'm just preaching to you so that you know who God is and that you know how to get to heaven.
Yeah.
And he's not forcing it on anybody. He's just trying to tell you, here's what's in the Bible. Here's what we're reading today. Yeah. And he says, we have to repent daily because we make mistakes daily.
Yeah.
Against our own brothers and sisters on earth.
Yeah.
And against God and Jesus. We make mistakes, and that's normal. We just have to repent.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that this these things going on in these states is going to bring back some respect and help these parents and help these kids.
It's healthy to admit
You
when you're
know?
wrong. And that's when, if you can't admit it to a human, which you should be able to admit it to your peers as well. But if you can admit it to God and ask for his forgiveness, that's important too. And I'm talking to you, Democrats. Y'all motherfuckers, Republicans have faults, but Democrats cannot, as of lately, do not want to admit when they're wrong and think they're never wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, that's a dangerous thing. And that's, I don't know who's religious and who's not. And maybe a lot of Democrats really aren't. But you know, the whole thing about being religious and being Christian is trying to be like Jesus was, which you're never going to be, but try. And not admitting when you're wrong and being pretentious and high and mighty, that's not what Jesus did. He was humble. If he was wrong, he would admit it. He was loving. And so always thinking you know more than everybody else, that's not I don't align with that. And you know, even if you're not religious, you can get the idea of what Jesus was. And that's not a good trait that I don't think anyone that wants to be a better person.
You know what they did to Jesus in his own hometown? They wouldn't accept him for who he was for.
Right.
In his own hometown.
Yeah.
He had to leave.
Was that the Jews or no?
He had to leave. His own people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he had to leave because they wouldn't accept him for who he was for, so he left.
Yeah.
He left. You know, he had to leave his own people.
Yeah.
They wouldn't accept him for who he was.
Yeah.
So, well, with that being said, you know, I told my boys growing up, you're going to make a mistake. Every day we make mistakes at work, at home, and taught these boys of mine the best thing you can do is go tell your supervisor, I messed up. I made a mistake. I hit the gas pump putting gas in the work truck, or whatever you do. You know, they're going to appreciate that because eventually they're going to find out that you made that mistake and you broke something or whatever you did, and they're going to be upset with you, but they're going to respect you more because you fessed up to what you did and made the mistake.
Yeah.
You know, as perfect as I am, I still make mistakes every day.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's get into this video react real quick.
Okay.
All right. So there might be a
Is this
slight
the Tauh?
Tuah, yeah.
Tuah.
There might be a slight echo because we're not wearing headphones, so just bear with us real quick. Let's go. Oh, I gotta turn the. Let's see.
Because I didn't.
How do you get over a breakup?
Hold on. Let me make sure the. Okay, yeah, we're good.
You have to tell them while we're watching this because I didn't know what it was.
Okay, yeah, my dad didn't know what the Tuah video was, but I think most people have seen it now. But if you haven't, this is I became familiar about this about a week ago, but to my knowledge, it's probably about 3 weeks old at this point. But it's one of these street interviews where guys are like outside of bars and they try to get girls or guys and ask them like questions about dating and sexual things and try to get like, you know, real good clips. So this is one that blew up online like I said, about 3 weeks ago, and you know, everyone knows about Hawk 2 at this point.
Except me.
Yeah.
Except me.
So here we go.
Except me.
Get drunk.
How do you get over a breakup?
Get drunk. Like we're doing right now.
Y'all getting over a breakup right
The
now?
only way to get over one is get under another. Amen.
So you got a side piece.
Maybe I got 3. Maybe I got 7.
How many is on your roster?
There's only one I want, but till he's serious, I'm a boy.
So how many you got on your roster right now?
Maybe 4.
One. She said one.
Maybe 4. How many you got on your roster?
None.
Trying to add one to it?
Add one?
Yeah, you trying to add
Is
one more
that
to
you?
it? Yeah, that's me.
Maybe, I don't know.
So I can get your number?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. There you go.
You got it.
There you go.
I got one more. I got one more
Some
for
good
you.
questions. Like, you gotta make it good.
Leave a message to your last body.
My last body,
Yeah.
I miss you. Come back.
You miss him.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was doing his little thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
What's your type?
Like me.
I don't want to miss it.
Your last body.
There we go.
I love you, Pookie, forever.
They must have been doing the right thing.
What can I say?
Okay.
Bit the cobwebs off this day.
Are you posting this for real? I'm waiting. Come on. She'll be back. Like, I don't know how to answer those.
What I asked us.
Like, my type, I don't have a type. Like, this is no, man.
Can we have a 360? Can give us a 360?
It's flat
Girl.
flat
Come on, you gotta get a spicy one.
You want a spicy one?
Yeah.
What's one move in bed that make a man go crazy every time?
One what?
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time? That you do?
That I do.
Yeah. That makes a man go crazy every time.
Does not reply.
In bed, Haley.
Oh.
Slobber cloth.
This is for her.
What?
You
What's-
gotta answer this. You got it.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh,
that
you
do?
gotta give him that hawk and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you. I think you gotta demonstrate.
That's it though.
I bet her parents and Pastor hate her.
Oh man.
Are we still on? We're not on.
No, yeah, we are.
Oh.
So supposedly she had merch and everything.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh, those girls are wild.
Yeah.
Well, now I know what it is.
Yeah.
Been seeing it all over the internet and all over Facebook.
You've been seeing a ton of memes and shit.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. You've never seen one of those street interviews like that?
No.
Yeah, they're pretty common.
That's
But-
pretty
Yeah.
hot too.
And the internet gets a hold of something and it spreads like wildfire.
That poor girl.
Yeah, I think she's making a lot of money off of merch from it.
Really?
Yeah. So, you never know. Now, any publicity is good publicity.
I guess.
She's
but
famous now.
She won't be able to live that down when she's older and has kids. Be horrible.
Really?
Look at mommy.
There's a lot worse that girls have done.
Oh my gosh.
That's just a funny street interview, you know? She's a little drunk, funny, college days.
Yeah. Having a good time.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I think we're good. Good
Alright.
interview. Good,
Yeah.
good conversation. Good
Yeah.
seeing everybody.
Yeah. Well,
God bless. God bless, and see what happens at the conventions, I
the
guess.
next convention. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll have you back around the second debate or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we could talk again and
Yeah.
talk about some other shit too. But now that everybody knows who my dad is and everything, we can. I think next time he was saying he wants to have Weston on or something. So maybe we could do that, or maybe have a couple people on. We
Yeah.
got 4 mics,
Hey,
so
we got Joey.
well, he lives
Oh,
several
yeah,
hours
too far
away.
Yeah.
We can get some other people on though. Maybe Tyler and Weston, or my other brother Duncan and Weston. So we'll get some other people on next time and have a fun little chat. So I guess that's episode 23. Probably gonna try to do a little video covering the politics a little more, and then I need to get the episode of my video review of House of the Dragons episode 1 out. I know I'm lagging behind on that, but it was good to have another episode in. And I guess until next time, that was episode 23. And LOG from Where the Smoke. I'm out.